Doc here. So the numbers as they came out, jobless claims 216,000 versus 230,000. Stock market's it's interesting. They're buying in, for the last, I want to say the last 6 or 7 days or 4 or 5 days, they've been leaning into the Russell, which is the low caps, which means that, something like 40% of the, September core PCE came out also up 2.10, and the September core price up 0.3, and that's what the estimates were too at the same time. September core price index year over year 2.7 versus 2.6. Initial jobless claims 216,000, as I said, versus 230. Continued jobless claims 1.86 million versus 1.88 million. They're going to revise these numbers at times. It just goes on and on like that. So people are starting to get used to the idea of not actually paying attention to them. Just the money managers who need to execute trades, so it doesn't look like they care. They got to make sure that it makes it look like they care. What a strange world we're in now. Oh yeah, we care. These fundamental data that Janos used to put videos up about how to try to trade them when they didn't make any sense. I mean, how they weren't respected anymore. It was that type of thing. It was very strange. Oh, I didn't want to. There's the weekly spreadsheet there. Let's see if we can get that pushed around just right. And this is the last day of the month of October. Good tool. Why is this thing spinning? Oh, there it is. Okay. So let me just double. Yeah, okay. There it is. I can see it. Hey, Robin, how you doing? So at this point, where am I at? And what am I talking about? What I'm really talking about in the end result is that the market itself anymore is just, I guess you could say in a lot of ways, people just don't know how to trust it anymore. That's what it comes down to. So they do and they don't, and they don't get too intense about it. They do what their incorporation says they have to do, that's what it really comes down to, is they do what their incorporation says they have to do. That's it, and they don't go any further than that, and they don't get any crazier than that. The moves in the market are relatively oblivious in the end result. So, what else can we say about any of that? I guess that's about it. All right, so from there, what we'll do is we go take a look at the dollar index, and you can see it up on the screen there. Is that the dollar index? Yeah, that's the dollar index. And you can see up on the dollar index, it's just kind of generating a lot of red dots. You can see here it's trying to push into the sell. The weekly hasn't gotten there yet. It's very close. And, we can always stretch it across like so. There we are. And then move this over. It's only showing 6 weeks back now. That's what was part of the problem, is that it wasn't willing to give us the 3 months back that we were getting before that. We'll figure it out. It's just the data feed situation. Right now, the data feed is for free, so we just take it for free, and it does a fine job. And you can see there, at least it updates and the whole bit, and you can look at it during the day and see the changes, and we're happy with it. We like this. And at this point, you can see it's trying to get into the sell. When we go over to, let's do this. Show you where the 30-year bond is. I see right there. Interest rates have been going down in the States the last 2 days or so. Let's show you. I'm going to show you the 30-year. 30-year right there. There's the 30-year. And you see it's trying. Let's just go like this. It's the price of the bond we're watching. The bond has been trying to go right here. Let's show you the 10-year. And that's the fundamentals that we're talking about, is that, markets try to follow numbers, real numbers. When they say, hey, you lost $2 or you made $2, or in the case here, we're looking at consumer spending at 0.5% versus as 0.4%, estimated. Means that consumer spending is a little bit higher. And so you can see it here, same situation. This is the 10-year. You see that right there. For the last 4 days, it's been trying to lift. You know, it lifted from there on last Friday. I'm sorry, last Thursday. Then last Friday, you know, interest rates were dropping a little bit there. Then they kind of unchanged there during the trading day. And then today you can see just a little bit down, nothing major. You know, interest rates are increasing just a little bit on the shorter term. The longer term not, and that's how they decide mortgages and house sales and, you know, all the good mechanics of things, you know. So that is the way it is. Let's see now. From there, let's see, what do? We go to, I guess what we'll do is we'll open up the, take a look at the individual pairs trades. You see how, let me just remind you, where's that? Let's put the dollar index just one more time up there. And you can see there, the dollar is trying to, you know, go down. Make it a full screen. See? Then when we go and look at the algorithms, you see there, 3 out of the last 4 days, it's trying to stay in the sell. Combine the two together with the red dots, and it's telling us that there's pressure. Pressure on the dollar. All right, now from there, let's see, where do we go? Let's do this. We'll shift screens and go over to the euro. You see the last couple days, it's, you know, it's been in the buy since here and kept on, you know, it dropped underneath, but we had a green and a red, and then it dropped underneath there, and we had a green and a red, so it still stayed in that buy. And the only thing we're really watching now for is you see how the fast is trying to get up to the 0 line. This is the euro against the dollar, not the dollar against the euro. And you see there, you know, it's been in the sell since up in here. It obviously went down. We're trying to bottom. It's oversold in this area here, and you can see it's trying to bounce up. Not a lot of push, but some push. We got a daily buy, but we're in a weekly sell. We can see the fast moving through the slow. We can see it moving through the histogram, now moving through the manifold, trying to get to the 0 line, trying to get into the plus. So you can see that money is trying to sell dollars and buy euros. All right, now from there, let's take a look at the cable. And remember, traders, if you would like to look at anything, we can stop what we're doing. We have no problem doing that. We love spontaneity around here. So, you know, just ask a question on the chat line, and we'll go after and look at it. Spontaneity is our middle name. All right, let's move this over. There's a cable. Let's move that up like that. Right there. GBP versus US dollar, not US dollar versus GBP. So when it's going down, the cable is losing money. And when it's rising, it's making money. Remember, it reverses out when you go dollar GBP. All right, let's widen this out. You can see here, there was a green and a red, so it's still in that buy for a, is that 4 days now? You can see it up on the spreadsheet. Coming in, cable was 4 weeks in a sell, 3 weeks in a buy. I'm sorry, 3 days in a buy. Now today's the 4th day. We'll see how it survives. And let's move that 0 line up on the weekly. There's 4 days, trying to go into a 5th this week now, whereas the euro is just 1 week behind. Let's see. now from there, we switch over to what we like to always call them, the inflation fighters, because they've shown how well they do fight inflation. That's why I always make the joke, every central bank should have one Swiss banker, because at least they know what they're doing. It would be nice if the Federal Reserve had a couple people that knew what they were doing. At this point, they are not really reflecting much. You can see here, weekly buy. Now this is the reverse, obviously. It says dollar Swiss, not Swiss dollar. So because it's dollar Swiss, when it's rising, it is losing against the dollar. And when it's coming down, it's gaining against it. And we've seen this product a year and a half ago up at the 101 area, and they did a great valiant job of fighting the inflation, and it's brought their currency all the way down into the 84s from 101, which is like a 16+% move. Wouldn't Turkey love to have a 16% move? Compared to going from €1 all the way up to 37 euros. Saw a little wild action. You'll see that today. There was a big tail. Someone came in to buy the stuff. They were like buying Turkish lira. Or I guess, yeah, when it goes down, it's gaining against the euro. So someone was definitely liking the product. You'll see that in the chart when we get there. Here's the yen. Yen's quieting down a little bit. You can see on the spreadsheet, where's it on the spreadsheet? Line 39, right there, and underneath it, it is 4 weeks in a buy and 20 days in a buy. It looks like it's trying to get into that daily sell right now. Go for it, huh? Let's have a sip of tea. Nice sip of tea. All right. Let's see. What are we doing here? That's what we're talking about right there. Let's widen it out. You see it's broken through the zero line. Let's put that zero line in. At the same time, we're a full red. Last time it did it, we were green and a red. That's the way this particular system works. The platform itself. You can see there, weekly doesn't seem to be changing much. You can see the fast is broken underneath the green, which is the slow algo. And you can see it's now messing with the manifold, but still above the zero line. Right there, the zero line. So as much as they're putting some pressure on the dollar pair side, in other words, it's dollar yen, not yen dollar. So when it's going up, it's losing against the dollar, the yen is. And then when it's going down, it's gaining against the dollar. And I'm sure it'll be happy to see this try to turn down. Little disappointed they got up into the high 52 area. I thought it would stall out around 151, 152, but it looks like it's trying to stall there. You see the last 4 days has been, a close of 153.41. There was 153.36. There was 153.29. And today we are at 152.73 as we just speak, as it just changed. So that's good. It's starting to put a little pressure on it. That when it's going down, obviously it's reducing the inflation in Japan. And then from there we go to the Turkish lira, the great experiment. Look at that. Somebody got punished somewhere along the line. Some wild trade got through there. That's what's so nice when I have J4X up. You can see the correlation of the two where there's a wild move. I do miss J4X. Let's go for T again. T. So, Turkish lira in a daily buy now. Where's that green line? We keep on putting it in there. It disappears on us. right there. It went into the buy there. And was that 3, 4, 5 going on a 6 day? Let's look on the spreadsheet. Right there. 5 weeks in a sell, 5 days in a buy. You know, we're watching that weekly. This will be wild. This will be the first time we've seen 6 weeks in 3 years. So, I don't know. Maybe they figure that Mr. Trump gets into office, the world is going to be more organized towards commerce and business and less with war. Mr. Trump, who was top of his military academy, he was the #1 cadet at his military academy, was definitely a believer in make love, not war. That's why I guess he had 3 wives. But more than that is he's not a real big fan of just firing bombs at people. In other words, he does it to shut them up more and stop the violence. And he usually does a pretty good job. It was pretty peaceful when he was president before. And he's getting backing now from the Lebanese Arabs about, the ones that live in America are supporting him, and some of the Muslim communities are starting to support him because they know that he's interested in more in peace, not war. He's into business and making money and making people happy than torturing everybody like Mr. Biden or Miss Harris or whatever. So maybe that's why we're seeing this gain, come down from the 40s area all the way down to now. You can honestly say it's like what is that? That's close to a 16% drop with that wild sell-off yesterday. That's pretty good. Let's hope, that helps out the Turkish people. When that, there's less euros to a Turkish lira, that's a win for them. It means they can buy more. It means they can feed themselves and pay taxes or do whatever they do with money. But, it's nice that it makes life a little bit easier for people. Inflation is a horrible tax. It really hurts people. It doesn't open the door for growth. It only does the opposite. It's a way of governments who've overspent to try to inflate their way out of it and hurt the population financially. But they benefit because now they're paying with cheaper currency. That's the objective of it all, and we're not real happy about that. Mr. Trump is not supportive of it, and that's a good thing. We don't want that evil monster to go away. Go away, inflation. Go away. All right, and that's the Turkish lira. So that's how we look at that at this point in time. It's it's kind of a very positive thing there. So from there we go to South Africa, the #2 brick in the world that's free floating. In many ways, it's the #1 brick because it's a free floating product. Imagine if they would let the Chinese yuan trade in an open market. It might trade at 22 or 23 instead of 7. But it might trade, maybe 15 or 20% of the world volume. But right now, it only trades about 5 or 6 or 7 on a given day of the percentage of the world volume because it's a fixed thing that the People's Bank of China comes out and announces. So I can't really watch the Chinese yuan thinking that it is telling me a story, because every time we look at any of these pairs trades, they tell us the story. Because the Chinese yuan is a fixed product that doesn't trade in the open market, and at the same time, it's fixed to the dollar. So you're actually looking at the dollar when you watch the Chinese yuan. It's very weird. If you want to wipe out the dollar, you can't be fixed to it. I think that seems to be pretty obvious to the average person. If you really don't like it, then don't own it. But China likes to play that game where they say one thing and do another. Just like I'm going to go try to finish off my tea. There's more tea there than I expected. See. Alrighty. Let's go to the South African Rand. There it is. You see it has more of an upwardly motion now since all of October. Here we are, getting ready to start in November. And so it's been losing against the dollar. Normally, the metals complex, let's go over to the metals complex. All right, we'll do it on the beta. This way we can leave this one up like that. And let's see, where's it on the beta? Where's gold? There it is, gold. So you can see here, gold has been basically fighting that rhythm since, where is it at? Right, the beginning of October, with the South African rand going up. You can see in the beginning right here, it was on a downwardly slope. You can see that. So it was doing exactly what was going on. Where's that mouse at? Right there. On the South African rand. You know, in the beginning, it was rising, and you would think gold would be going down. And it was. It was doing that. You see that there all the way up until, what is that? The 10th. You know, so for a third of the month, it was doing that. And then out of nowhere, going into the 10th, it jumped up and just started climbing and doing the opposite of what the rand normally does. So you can see here on the 10th, is that the 10th right there? There it is right there. There's the 10th and the 11th, you know, and it dropped down, and that meant, you know, you see this little downwardly slope. Okay, yeah, I probably said too, hey, guess what? Maybe gold is going to start to lift again. And then it started to lift up again. So we shouldn't have seen this super duper run on the normally it wouldn't do this run from here like that, you know, going from, what is that? That is what's that price tag? 2,620. Basically, it ran all the way up to $2,800, 2,801 over the last 20 days. It just ran up, and the South African rand herked and jerked. You can see it. You know, it tried to go down, it tried to go up, it didn't the things there. Now you can see here, right there, you can see it slid into the weekly buy, and you can see the fast jumped into that weekly buy. Somewhere's in the middle of it all, right in here, it jumped into the weekly buy. Where's the zero line? Right there. There's the zero line. But the slow did not. And the histogram obviously did not. But you can see the fast did. And it jumped up and started reading it. You can see we went into a daily buy here. I held on to it all the way up until still are. And you can go up to... There's gold. 17 weeks in a buy. You couldn't take the short. 5 days in a buy. You know, it was very strong. And so we go over to here. And we go like that. Go like that. And you can see... a lot of buying. Let's see, if we go like this, we'll coordinate it like so. See, lots of buys, and we're in the weekly buy for 17 weeks, so it made it very, very hard to, you couldn't short it. You may have not been long for a couple pops, but one thing for sure is you weren't short it and getting in trouble, even with the red dots. You knew not to do that. And we kept on having those weekly buys and the red dots, and it was like, well, even with the histogram down, you can't be short, you'd have to be neutral. And that's what that's all about. Let's just blow that up so you can see it even bigger. Yeah, and mainly, let's see, where is that? Where's the 10th? Let's see if we can do this. We'll go like that, recycle it, you know, giving it a refresh. And then you can see here, go like that, and open up the, let's see, where's the 10th? There's the 10th right in here. There it is. So we were in the buy for that first pop up. You know, tried to push underneath for a couple of days, and then another 6 days in a buy again, and then they kind of did a little breather, and then another 4 days in a buy again there, then a 3-day breather, and then another 3 days buy and 1 day sell. And, you know, trying, but because we're in a weekly, you can't take those trades. The sell side, you only can do the buy sides. And that's what this mathematics is all about to begin with, to make it easy to know when to be long and when to be short and when to be neutral. So that was the action we saw. And when we go back to the South African Rand, it was very interesting. Now, we talk about the Rand and the great calamity by having Nelson Mandela and the ANC, bringing a communist complexion, I guess you could say, to South Africa, which really hurt the country. The currency used to trade at 5 and 6. Now it trades at, what's it at? Today it's trading at 17.50 basically. So that's an enormous inflation, just like what Turkey's gone through. And you have the farmers being killed all the time, and you have machine gun battles, and you have the past president having they find hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash laying around in his office when his pay is nowhere near that. Things like that. You got a lot of political problems. Most people don't understand apartheid. They used to call it a racist thing. Apartheid was where they gave half a vote to illegal aliens. That's what it did. That's why there are two groups in South Africa that are African, they're black, and they had a full vote. So you can't be racist and give, like the Zulus have a full vote. They've always had a full vote. But the illegal aliens had a half a vote. And that's why it's always confusing when they keep on pretending in the news that it was like a racist thing when it wasn't. It was an illegal alien thing. Our socialists here are trying to do the same thing. It's a socialist thing, I guess. I don't know. But, they try to do the same thing. But that is what the problem is. The currency has gone from like 4 and 5 to basically almost 20 over these years from Nelson Mandela and the ANC and the disasters. And so it's hard to separate the gold market or the metals market from the currency anymore. It sometimes gives us good direction, and especially after that last president, that really turned into a disaster because he should have been thrown out of office. They tried to throw him out of office, and they couldn't throw him out of office, and that's why the ANC lost power this last election. And so it's really hard to understand now. When they lost, the South African Rand was trading at 19 and change. Now it's trading at 17 and a half. So that's a good sign. In other words, that's an economic sign that shows us that they have a little bit more faith in what they call a coalition government. So the ANC and the old South African conservatives that were not socialist are now in coalition. And so is the Zulu nation, which they always were in coalition with the South African government on some level. They've always had that coalition thing, and they were always against the ANC. And so, it's hard to separate the way the currency moves with the, the metals market because of all those problems politically. And I'm sure we're the same way here in the States. I'm sure there's the same type of calamity going on some level. It's hard to remove the politics out of it because politics makes a currency and a country's function. I mean, former Prime Minister Erdogan of Turkey, obviously it's his policies that make the Turkish lira go from 1 to 37 or 1 to 40. It's not like a sunny day just occurred and all of a sudden it did it on its own. It's policies. It's economic policies. It's political decisions. It always is. It always will be. Why people think they can separate politics from economics, I have no idea. None. Zero. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. But that's probably why we have problems like this when we're trying. You can see here, there's a good 3 days of sliding down, and obviously gold went up with no problem there. Then you have this crazy pop. That could be the politics itself. Maybe they voted for something in Parliament, and people didn't like it, and they thought, I don't want to own the currency today on that one. I mean, that's usually the way it works. So that is the magic of it all. All right, now let's go over to let's see, the other currencies. The other metals. We haven't really looked at them. Let's take a look at silver. Silver, I think, is weak today. Last I saw it. I think I saw it in the, where was it? It was like, there it is right there. December silver. I think it's flirting with the sell. There's a lot of red dots. You can see it right there. It's dropped underneath the 0 line. Right there. Feeling some pressure. You can see that. And with the red dots, obviously, right there, it's telling you that. But unfortunately, the weekly, not unfortunately, for me, I'm pro silver, so I mean, it's, for the shorts, you can't, it's fortunate, I guess you could say, for the shorts, don't take that short. Stop. There's the weekly. The weekly is saying, guys, don't be too fast to go short us. That's what it's saying right there. And then we go over to, where is it at? Let's go to copper. And we always think of copper as thinking about China. You see that? It's trying to lift up. I thought it went into the sell. Let me just go like this. No, I don't want to share it. I wonder what it's like when you share. Okay, you can share it up on Twitter. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I should share it to my Facebook and see what it does. See if it does that. Okay, that's cool. Interesting. So it shares it like that. Let's just cancel that. Leave. Yep. All right. Interesting. So you can see here. Let's do this one part here. Full screen. So it pushed it into the sell yesterday with the red, and today it's trying to pop back up again. And we're in, we've been in weekly sells for a couple weeks, and it's trying to get into the weekly buy again, I guess right there. Where's it at? Right there. Yeah. So now see, that's got it. That's interesting. Is that we went into the beta here, went into the weekly sell back on the 10th. Right in here it went into the sell that week. And you can see, let's do this, we'll make it bigger. You can see, went into the sell around here that week. Let's see what the date is there. Where's the date? That's the 8th, 9th, 10th, and then what's the next one? Okay, so this week, somewhere's in here, it went into his sell. And you can see what happened. It found a way to stay down for a while in there. And went lower. And that is the weekly. Let me go back to it like this, and I'll just show you. You see that pressure on it. Whereas on the old platform, it's in the buy. It never fell into the sell. And I think it's, let's see what it's doing on the old platform. So the new platform actually reads these things a little bit more sensitive and better. A little bit more accurate. A little bit higher percentage. Let's see, let's put it up on there. Okay, there it is. Yeah, so you can see here, it's pressing down. I'm wondering if I have the wrong copper on the beta too. Let's just go back to that. So let me just go look at something else real quick. It wouldn't surprise me if I have to basically put the beta in there correctly. Let me just double check it. I think I'll do this after the webinar, but let me just look. Might have to put the full symbol in there. We had that problem with the silver after a while. We realized that. Copper. So was that 431? That's 437. Okay, so that's right. That's the December one. Now what is this? That's right too. Okay, so you can see there. Let's go back over to it. It's flirting. This one's flirting with the sell, and the beta is trying to turn it into the buy. So it picked up this weakness that the other platform didn't. The sell protected you. You can see that right here. There we go. You can see all those cells, and it jumped into the buy and back into the sell. Probably was a red dot, so it kept it in the sell. Let's go over to this again. Yeah, so it went into the sell there, and so it was in that weekly buy all through this action in here. It is amazing. I used to run 3 of these platforms at the same time of the old platform. We had 3 softwares, and it was amazing. They all looked different at times, but they all were accurate. That was the amazing thing. That was just like another bench test. So in other words, when we use our new beta and it looks a little different, it keeps you safe at the same time. In other words, it's still as profitable, even when it looks odd and looks different from each other. They keep you safe. It's an interesting mathematics that we have. Very interesting. And we've been doing that for decades, looking at it, and just experimenting and seeing how it all plays out. Let's see what we got here. All right. Let's just, one last thing that's really disturbed me, and that is platinum. You know, I always say it kind of is the canary in the coal mine. Look at that. They slammed it down yesterday. And then today it's going down a little bit more today. And it went into the sell. And look at the weekly. It's all the way down to the edge. Let's see what the beta says about all that. Let's see. Platinum. Platinum. Do we have it here? There it is, right there. January platinum. Okay. There we go. You see that? Same weird situation. In a weekly buy, and it kept on trying to tell us that it wasn't much strength. You could only, let's see if we can do this correctly. You see there, you know, you may have missed a lot of that move on the upside on the beta, but now we're playing with that weekly sell situation. Neither of them are giving you the clean shot, but I think the old platform was actually more successful in that. We'll have to go through the stats and see. All right, so from there, we're going to go to energy now. And we'll definitely go back and maybe tomorrow we'll explore the platinum a little bit more with the two different platforms and see who was really the winner in the end. In other words, the beta could have made more money out of it in the end. It's amazing. It always does that stuff. It blows my mind that the math finds different ways to read something differently, but at the same time keep you in the profitable position. There is crude oil right there. Also, now that we've gotten halfway through the webinar, we should just take a look back before we go through the energies to basically come up with a title today. What today's title is. It's always nice to have a title before the end of the webinar so I don't have to think about it, because the markets are opening up on me at the same time. And it's like, darn. What's this draft thing? Okay. So, today, title. There we are. So we started off talking about what? We were looking at the dollar and the 10-year and the 30-year and how the bonds, you know, we've talked about this from nausea now. You know, it's been going on for a whole month plus, you know, how the bonds went one way and how the government went the other way, and the government lost and the bonds won in deciding the interest rates. But the government pays less money now because they officially lowered the rate. And so that's the biggie right there. So today, I would say this webinar is really looking at the basically the two platforms and how well they work. I guess that's one thing. We talked about the dollar, you know, being, you know, weak dollar. That's a good thing. Let's try that. Weak dollar. And I guess you could say, and bonds. You know, it's curious but true. So that's the title today: Weak Dollar and Bonds. All right, we got that done. So, and it's, you know, fundamentals have been pushed and shoved, and unhappy, and all the other stuff. Wow, they're selling Microsoft down too. Isn't it? So Meta's being sold down, and Microsoft is being sold down from the earnings, despite Q3 beats. Guidance, all AI-related cost concerns weighing on shares. So we're actually seeing some selling there. All right, there's the oil, and oil is trying to get into the buy today. You can see it's a plus on the histogram, but a red dot there, and we're in a weekly sell for a second week. So it's awful hard to want to get long the oil at this point with it in a weekly sell. So you have to stand by and just watch it and then use the strength to short it. Now let's go take a look at the North Sea oil, the Brent, the BZ, BZ right there. There it is right there. There's the action in the BZ. Same situation, a lot of weakness there. Every time it shows strength, it's telling you don't. It's like the Mr. Biden. When someone does something evil in the world, his answer to it is don't. Don't. So you see a couple of weeks of selling going on in the Brent. Down from the 76 down to the 71 or 72. Where are we at now? We're back to 73 now. So, yes, and today's low was 71.82. That was today's low. From there we go over to heating oil. See what they're doing today about consumption and so forth. That might have had an influence on the traders. So let's see. And there is the heating oil. It went into the buy. There's the 30th. What's that? So it didn't jump up yesterday. It's doing it today. It's getting into the buy. But again, traders, this is in a weekly sell for 3 weeks. So you can't really get long that, even with cold temperatures coming at us. It's 3 weeks in a sell. So it's like this is going to give you an opportunity to sell it short again. And then from there, we go over to natural gas. Natty gas. There it is right there, natty gas, December. And you can see there, we're looking at 4 days in red dots. We're seeing 4 days in histogram minus. We'll just go like this, move it over. Like so. And go like that. So you can see that 4 minuses there, and this is the 4th week in a sell. So there's pressure in every direction on those energies, and we do believe Mr. Trump is going to bring down those costs, and so that'll make the stocks and so forth go down in value. They'll still have earnings and dividends and so forth, but let's take a look at the energy company in Spain. And see, I think it's flirting with a weekly buy. But it's been in a weekly sell for like 5 weeks now. Nope, it's fallen over now. So we're looking at 6 full weeks now in a sell. Tried to get up there a little bit on last week, but no luck. Still in that minus. We'll just make it bigger so you can actually see it. See, it was underneath the zero line. The fast tried to jump through, but it didn't last. And all that weakness there and sells. There's a winner, chinner dinner. And then from there, we'll take a look at the energy company in the United States. That is ExxonMobil, who makes it all. See how that's doing. Lots of selling going on there. A couple weeks in a sell. So the pressure is on. It's they're recognizing that Mr. Trump is obviously going to be our new leader, I believe. We'll see. But I think he's going to win with 100 million votes. I think he's going to get 100 million votes. I think a third of the country total is going to vote for him. And I don't think she can get more than, say, 92, 91, 93, something like that. I figure he beats her by anywhere from 7 to 6 to 10 million votes. He'll beat her by. All right, and then from there, that completes our energies. Unless someone wants to see something else, we'll start looking at what did they do in Tokyo last night, right there. You should see that the currency is gaining against the dollar, and it's going up in value. You can see it's been the only thing missing is a weekly buy. So it's kind of told you not to be short in here. You're just kind of stuck in the neutral now. Then from there, we go over to China, Illinois, or China, where they make the yuan. You can see a third day with some pressure on it. Same situation here, and it's just on the edge of trying to get into a weekly buy. I would say if they close this market in a weekly buy this week, I really do think that I would say that what's probably going to happen is that there's a good chance that they go and do another trillion yuan. They're about, like I've said, they should be between 25 and 30 trillion to stimulate the economy. They've only put out 1 trillion. So to stimulate that economy takes about $5 billion, and they've put out only 156 million. That's it. I said it right? No, 156 billion. So it would take $5 trillion or 30 trillion yuan to stimulate the economy, and they put out 1 trillion so far. And you know how these communists are. They usually do these 5-year plans, 3-year plans, 10-year plans. So maybe that's what they're going to do. They're going to, maybe next month out of nowhere, they'll turn around and say, hey, another stimulus out of nowhere, and that'll jack it again. So let's go from there. Let's see what they're doing down in South Korea this morning, or last night. There it is right there, the Kospi. Kospi is, I pushed it into the sell. It's in the sell there, and it's in a weekly sell now for a fifth week. So you can play that short. Interesting. From there, we'll go over to Taiwan, which has the tornado coming at it, or a storm, or not a tornado. What do they call it? Hurricane, or a what do they call them in the Pacific? Typhoon, maybe? I think they call them a typhoon. Let's see. It's here somewhere. There it is right there, Taiwan. We can see it in the chip stocks. They're the number 1 chip manufacturer in the world, it seems like. You see all those cells, see all that red, and we're now sliding into the weekly sell. That could be, a combination of all of it. We'll see. A lot of the loss in Microsoft and Meta these last 12 hours is because of the AI expenses. And because of that, that's the chips. The chips. The computer chips. From there, we'll go over to Singapore. Did we do? Yeah, we did the Chinese yuan. Let's do this. Let's go to Hong Kong and see what they're doing. And then we'll go to Singapore. There it is right there. See what the Chinese are doing in Hong Kong. A couple reds, a couple days of reds, and 3 weeks in a sell. So nothing yet, but I would think that we'll see in the Singapore, if we get into daily buys and weekly buys in Singapore and Hong Kong, you got to assume that there's a chance that the yuan, the Chinese government will be, that must be the front running of it, and they'll probably be stimulating again. So that's what we're watching for. And that's what money managers around the world watch for. They're all watching for China to bail out the world financial system. They want growth. They don't like politicians that want to give them growth, but they like growth. It's the strangest thing. It's very schizophrenic. You see 2 weeks in a sell in Singapore. You can see dozens of days in a sell. Lots of red, just a couple greens there. That was about it. So I think that when we start to see this thing turning, they turned before the stimulus last time. I would have to assume they'll do it again. Oh, let's see. How do I do that? If I go like that, can I do that? If I go like that, can I move that over and do it? No, it doesn't do it that way. Okay. So that's the action we see right there with Singapore. So until we see the turn there and Hong Kong, I'm guessing that could be tomorrow's title even. Keep an eye on those two countries in particular, or those two exchanges. If they start to lift, I think the stimulus is coming. Right now it's not coming. And probably the weakness in there is probably that reason alone. And let's see. From there, we jump over to... Where do we go? Let's go take a look. We're running out of time here. We got only a couple minutes left. So let's take a look at... let's see what's going on in Saudi Arabia. We'll just do that. You know what? I want to do the Nifty 50 solely because they're really deeply involved with the BRICS. And we're trying to get a read on whatever they're doing. Notice ever since the BRICS thing started, the conference and the preparation, they've been selling down the rupee. So just shows you how much they're going to have to shoulder all the problems. Same thing with South Africa. They've been basically giving problems with the currency there too. So it just shows you. And if we could only have a free-floating yuan, we'd be able to see Chinese yuan. We'd be able to really tell what's going on when it comes to BRICS. Need free markets, free people. Here's the DAX. And it's trying to lift up a little bit here today. They sold it down the last couple of days. You can see here 3 days on the downside and in the weekly sell there. Now let's jump back over to Saudis. Let's see what the Saudis are up to. We'll just show you the Aramco. Where's that? Where's Aramco? Right there. And tomorrow we'll go take a look at the metals company there. A little pressure on it. Again, prices are dropping. It's in weekly sells. No big surprise to us. Let's see. I like to call it Rocket's Red Glare, and that is the Tel Aviv exchange. They're like the honey badger. They don't care. They just keep on investing. Yeah, look at that. Another nice I guess it's like a 6-month high, that type of thing. 3 days in a buy. In weekly buys, they don't care. They just make money. Money, money, money. They make pharmaceuticals, and they make genetics, and they do medicine, and they do technology. They do it all. They for a country who always is consistent with the idea they would rather make love than war, unfortunately the neighbors like to do war, not love. It's too bad. One day, that could be really fun. Let's check it out. Who's next on this? Let's go see what the footsie's doing. Make love, not war. Go Trump. Make love, not war. This is a guy who was the top of his military academy. The top cadet. And he went to business school because he was like, I don't think I want to kill people. I think I want to just make love and make money. And you can see there's the footsie. Kind of leaky. Very leaky. Up in the highs, no doubt. But you can see all these days. I mean, 10 days there? There's 3. There's 5. 6, 7. It's 8 days. 8 out of 9 days in a sell. You can see the pressure that's been on it. And it's been in a weekly sell for a couple weeks. So, not sure why they would. I guess the Labor Party is really pushing a big socialist agenda. They said it's going to be a very short-lived government. In other words, it's one and done again. They're going to, the Tories will. I'm not sure if it's the Tories or if it's Farage, Nigel. His group might finally jump in and he's got a shot at becoming a leader now because of it. His organization's got some strength now. He's a member of parliament now, so he can lobby for himself. All right, we're out of here, traders. This is Doc from North America saying happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends at Dukascopy and Chicago Quant. So, have a safe and smart trading day. Today is Thursday, and it's Halloween here. We will catch you all tomorrow on Friday, TGIF. Thank goodness it's the weekend. Ha ha, ha ha. Arrivederci all.